Hey, good evening, everyone. I'm going to call the Planning Commission meeting to order Monday, August 4th at 6 o'clock. Do a roll call. Steve? Here. Josh? Here. Haley?
Here.
Kate?
Here.
Dave?
Here.
Mike? Yep, here. Okay, thank you. Entertain a motion to approve the Planning Commission minutes from July 7th.
So moved. Second.
So I have a motion, a second to approve Planning Commission minutes from July. Is there any discussion on the motion? Not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried, thank you. Next item on the agenda is public hearing. We'll hold a public hearing regarding ordinance 06-25 to amend ordinance chapter 635 zoning, section 635-19 and 635-20.
Make a motion to open the public hearing.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion, a second to open the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Matt?
Thank you, Mayor. So before you tonight is essentially an alteration to 635-19 that splits it into two separate zoning districts. 635-19A would be medium density residential, which would become R3, and 635-19B would be high density residential, R4. And just to be clear, tonight all we're considering is a text amendments. If those were approved tonight, the next Plan Commission, which we're asking for later in the agenda, is to consider another public hearing to actually make the map amendments. Essentially, because the zoning district is not yet present, we can't do both the text and the map amendments at the same time. So that's why the process would be text amendments tonight. If those are approved moving forward, then map amendments would be considered at the next meeting. So basically what this will do for the two separate zoning districts would adjust number of units, minimum lot sizes, height limits, and setbacks. For height limits, R3 would remain to be 35 feet. The R4 zoning district would be 4 habitable floors. Floor to ceiling height limits may be established during site plan review to ensure structures are compatible with surrounding environment. Basically, we don't want someone to say, well, I'm going to do 20-foot tall floors and we get it grossly. So as long as they're within regulation or median in terms of height is something we would review upon each site plan review. Minimum lot size, R3 would be 24,000 square feet, R4 would be 26,000 square feet. And then setbacks, R3 would have the same setbacks currently, which would be front yard 25, rear yard 25, side yard 12, and high density would have 20 rear front, 20 rear, and side yard 12. Number of units, R3 units would be 3 to 12 dwelling units per development. So as we, I'm just going to go back a couple of slides here to look at this. So one of the areas or things that we were considering was the existing high density areas, which is to the north here and then to the south here. We wanted to make sure they stayed within regulation when we made this switch. So that 3 to 10 units, all the properties and lots that were within these areas fall within that. So they would, none of them would be out of compliance or become legal non-conforming. And then R4 high density would be 9 plus units per development. And then the last item would be, as we're making this switch, we'd just be changing single family residential from R4 and it would go to R5. There'd be no actual changes to the language within the R or the single family zoning district. So with that, I'll turn it over to Plan Commission. If you have any questions tonight, it's been approved to hold the public hearing, and then we're asking you to consider if you'd want to make a recommendation to council for approval of these changes.
I'll make a recommendation to approve these to the council for their approval.
We want to wait to
Okay.
open up to the public, and then I'll sit down, and then after you close the public hearing, then you can consider if you
All
want
right.
to move forward.
I have no questions on what's been presented.
So anybody from the public can please come up to the podium, state who you are, where you live, what you want to talk about.
I make a motion, we close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Now I'll make the motion.
Whoops, we gotta consider approval of the ordinance to amend the city ordinance. So, okay, go ahead.
Now I can do it? Okay. I'd like to make a motion that the ordinance 6-25, amending the chapter 635 zoning in section 635-19 and 635-20 go to council for recommend going to council for approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second to approve the ordinance 6-25 to send to council. Is there any discussion on the motion? Not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is Linden Road Certified Survey Maps, lots 4, 5, and 6 of West Ridge Estates. Luke?
Yep. Thank you, Mayor. So, Robert Jacobs has submitted a planning application for combined lots 5 and 6, or I guess reconfigured lots 5 and 6 of the West Ridge Estates. Lots 4 is also included in that. Those are 325, 333, and 341 Linden Road. So the reason for the CSM was the original configuration did not allow for the construction of a wider home while meeting those R1 zoning setbacks. So this is a reconfiguration to allow for a wider home on lot 5. So the current owner and developer, Greg John, this CSM would basically be contingent on the sale of those properties to Robert Jacobs. So then the CSM can get approved for that. So this is just an overview of what it looks like currently. It's pretty small, but right here is lots 4, 5, and 6. These are the lots in question here. And then this is what the proposal is. Basically just combining, for the most part, lots 5 and 6 to create a bigger lot, which is 141 feet wide now. And then lot 4 would eat a small chunk of lot 5, 15 feet, to make that about 100 feet wide right there. So with that, staff recommend forwarding the resolution for the lot configuration to council for approval, contingent upon the purchase of the lots by Mr. Jacobs.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second to approve the certified survey maps, lots 4, 5, and 6 of West Ridge Estates. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Well, he answered my question, because the planning application said that the property owner is Robert Jacobs. And so that is incorrect on the application. It should state who the owner really is. And then maybe, I don't know, contingent on this, because again, once we approve this, the CSM can be approved. And I don't know, can we do contingencies on a,
Updated application is what you're thinking? So if we could-
well, not so much that I think we can update, but
Yeah.
my thought is, can we approve a CSM with a condition? You know, if I had an offer to purchase says, yes, he's gonna buy it from us, then I'd say, you know, he's got the offer saying it's contingent on this, but we're gonna approve a CSM, and we don't know what the conditions are, and we're saying, well, if he buys it, what if he doesn't? Then does the CM go away, or we approve it? That's just my only thought. So that'd be my question.
So we can't approve a CSM based on the fact that if they don't own it, they can't combine and adjust the lots. So right now, essentially no CSM can move forward unless he purchases the lots.
So we can approve the concept, but we really shouldn't approve it until he has the offer to purchase and it says,
Right, and that's why I guess what we're saying is this is contingent upon the lots being in his name before we move forward with recording it. But you have the approval from planning commission and council.
recommendation, okay, that's fine.
He's not gonna buy it if
Yeah.
we say no. So
But,
I get it,
no,
he's trying,
but-
it's kind of a catch-22.
But as we'd say yes, and as long as he shows to the council he's gonna purchase it, then I think
Yeah.
they would approve. That's my just main concern. All right,
And I will say, Jerry Voss just walked in. I know he's working with the landowner. I don't know, Jerry, do you know if he's the current, Mr. Jacobs has some sort of letter of intent or purchase agreement with Greg John?
I think they already closed.
Okay.
oh,
So it could just be
They
that,
won
it could just be that,
2 weeks ago.
the Pierce County has updated their.
no, that's fine. that's fine. Then I'm all right. You know, that's,
Yep.
you know my
Yeah.
concern. And that's, I think, just make a note to council that they want to make sure that scene it was transferred
Yeah.
in order to approve that CSM.
Okay, any other discussion? Not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. The next item on the agenda is 445 Court Street, Senior Housing Concept Plan Review. Luke?
So, the city of Prescott has been proposed a 58-unit senior housing development on 445 Court Street. So that's that old hospital lot down there. So this would be 36 one-bedroom units and 22 two-bedroom units, with independent living with access to limited support services, as far as I understand it. And then is under a planned unit development. So this basically allows more flexibility regarding density and setbacks, those kinds of things under that. Just some considerations to make is just the parking. So as of right now, required is one parking unit for each apartment unit, but since these are senior housing developments, they proposed lowering the amount of parking because the residents don't normally have as many cars there during the peak hours even. So this is just like the overview of the concepts here.
Parking garage with it? No.
Yeah, no,
It's
yeah,
all
so.
open. It's all
This is
open
it,
here.
so
Yeah,
this
I
is
just
with
wanted-
63
What's
parking
underneath?
spots here. So some of these might end up getting removed in the process, in favor of more green space or other considerations that the planning commission may wanna make. Here are the units here, and then this is just basically kind of a rough concept of what the units would look like. I believe the developer cited the Ellsworth development, as kind of a reference for this too, so.
So Mayor, if you're fine, Greg Johnson with Nottingham Construction, and is the proposer of this concept plan. I don't know if you're fine with him, just giving an overview of the concept and kind of walking through what he has proposed.
Sure.
Ask us a question.
Good evening. My name is Greg Johnson. I live in St. Paul. We've owned this property for a number of years. I don't recall some faces, but we came before you years ago with an existing building, and we were going to try to convert it into a similar type product, and quite frankly, the world kind of fell apart in 2020. So we kind of scrapped that. We started doing demo. We actually demoed the whole building, and then we just took the whole thing down because it just didn't fit with the use that we were trying to do, and we were trying to fit small rooms into corners. And so we really kind of sat back the last couple of years and came up with another, what I think is a better concept that fits really actually the use that we're looking for, similar to some of the other projects that we have. As Luke mentioned, we do have a 40 unit in Ellsworth, Wisconsin that's been open for probably 8 or 9 years. We've got the same operator there that we would bring down here to operate this facility. So as Luke mentioned, you know, this is going to be an assisted living. It's going to be a independent with some light services. So if the people that are here, you know, need some help, it isn't necessarily something where they're just selling a house and just looking for an apartment. They're actually looking for kind of that next phase. So I would say our average age here is probably going to be early 80s is probably when these people would be looking to come into something like this. The footprint, we were trying to mirror or come very similar to what the old building was, so the footprint shouldn't, you know, drastically change from what was there before we tore it down. We tried to stay with 2 stories, just because we are in a residential area, we're trying to keep that height down. If there was some concern about maybe shrinking the footprint, you know, we could maybe look at going to a 3rd floor and maybe doing more of a flat roof. That would bring that foundation, you know, shrink that size there. So we're open to discussion, and that was kind of the purpose of this evening, was to get some feedback. But there is a need here in Prescott. You do have a nursing home, but you don't have any assisted living. You don't have that type of care here. It's kind of either all or nothing with the nursing home. So, you know, I think this is a good fit for the community. We have other projects in the Twin Cities You know, we think we're a very good developer. We have nice properties. When they're up, they're well-maintained. We take a lot of pride in what the buildings look like. And if any of you are familiar with Ellsworth, we're kind of on the way out of town to River Falls. We've got a one-level, and it's kind of sprawling project, whereas, again, this would be up and down, so. Are there any
Is the
questions?
Ellsworth one in a dense residential area? Or is it-
You know, it's just kind of on the outskirts of town, so it abuts residential, but it isn't in a, you know,
Yeah, I'm gonna give you my honest feedback,
Sure.
is that I'm a little concerned about having lower parking spaces, just because we are, I know that we're saying in peak hours, we're seeing
Mm-hmm.
only 20 stalls filled, but you're in a high dense residential area, where if we start getting a bunch of parking along those streets, that's my only concern.
yeah,
really
no,
right
and I
now.
appreciate that. And what I
So-
mentioned to Matt and Luke was, you know, we actually can fit 63 stalls on the site. I just said, hey, why don't we start with 40? Because, you know, we just don't, other than, we will have some residents drive, you know, other than staff, we're not gonna have a lot of cars. But if that's an issue, we could always add those extra 20 stalls.
That's my only thought, is that it's in a pretty high dense
Mm-hmm.
residential area that's pretty historic, so that's my one concern,
Sure.
is like, you know, I don't know.
And that would be me, I still think parking's important,
Yeah.
other than sometimes you can put too much. But my thought is, two things I worry about, water retention on site.
Right.
We have that issue.
More infiltration is
Yeah.
better, because we've had problems with the water, and you knew that.
Yep.
But number two, I'm thinking, if we made them paved a certain amount, and then some of it, you make those metal grates, or those grates where the grass can kind of grow through it, and yet he could use it for parking when he needs to, it could say overflow parking, and people think, oh, it's grass, but, it's actually grass with the grates in it. So it would still
So you want to sink in?
soak in some water, and yet it would hold the cars when they needed them. That was one of my
Yeah,
thoughts.
no, and I don't disagree with you there. I think, the idea behind the proof of parking was just, let's start with this. If we find that it's not enough, we've got room to add. If that's gravel or for whatever it is, we want to make sure it looks nice. I'm glad you touched on the drainage, because I know, to the west of this going towards the river, there's issues, and there's been issues with the retaining wall and the water. So it would be our goal here too, also to, if there are issues, that we can get them addressed with the storm sewer and whatnot as we're doing the development. So I think it actually could be a benefit to the neighbors as well to get this thing, kind of dialed in.
Because the
And that-
townhouses down the hill would
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
And the
absolutely.
question is, can the city storm sewer handle this much runoff? And I'm sure it can handle a certain amount, but maybe some of it has to be, whether it's under the parking lot,
Yeah, we've
where you
done that.
retain it there.
Yep, absolutely.
And then those grates, if we use grates again instead of gravel and stuff, because it still would soak in, because it's grass. Grass and metal, like a metal or plastic grate.
Yeah.
So that'd be my recommendation, kind of keep the parking, but it could be just grass with something to support the load, and then water retention, my two concerns.
Same. I was on council when we had
Mm-hmm.
we basically took the other one down and then the wall fell
Yeah.
down, so it was like the same timing, so.
Yeah, so again, I think we can help with that issue as well. So. Is there an opinion of 2 stories versus 3 stories? Again, we're in a residential area, so being sensitive to the neighbors, we've
I
had
I
2
think
stories
the
is better.
2-story like that is the way to go.
And it is the same footprint, basically?
It's similar, yeah, we'll actually do some overlays. We just put this together to get in front of you so we could have a
Yeah, so
discussion.
it's the same square footage as the original one.
Similar, yeah.
Well, it's gonna have to be a little bit, because I remember that building, just because of the number of units, you got 58, they'll have to be.
And this is 3
But-
stories, really, right?
Yeah, you're gonna have that walkout below,
Yeah.
that is correct,
Because
so.
it's basically built-in, hill built-in.
Yeah, you're on that hill on the backside, so, and those will be the things we'll work through in engineering, is if we need to pull the building a little forward to get it away from the wall, or whatever those things are, we'll make those adjustments, and we just wanna make sure that we're going down the right path before we get too deep here, so.
I like the concept.
Yeah, I like it too.
How many staff do you plan to have?
For a building like this, my guess at peak hours, you probably have maybe 15. We're not planning a memory care. In memory care, you end up with quite a few more staff throughout the day. So, I'd say probably 15 for this size of a building.
So is this like basic needs kind of stuff?
Yeah, bathing, meds we'll be doing, we would have a full commercial kitchen, so we do all the meals.
It's like certified nurse type work?
Yeah,
Okay.
CNAs, yeah.
And yet it's independent living.
Yeah, and it's independent and day out,
Okay.
so we'll have a little bit of everything. And the idea is to be able to utilize some of our resources up at Ellsworth and allow the 2 buildings to kind of work together, so.
Looks good.
Doing some fast math,
Yeah,
talking about 80 rooms. If you take the 22 two-bedrooms and 36 one-bedrooms, 80 rooms, and this is 80-year-olds who are not too dependent, potentially have cars, and then you have 15 staff. The parking is pretty concerning for that reason. I mean, that's a lot of rooms, a lot of tenants, potentially.
yeah, I mean, we certainly can get some information to you. I mean, we have owned, 10 of these facilities, and I can tell you that we've got 120 unit buildings that don't have 60 parking stalls. So,
You have the space to put them in if needed, correct?
yeah, we have the space to put 60 stalls in. I don't want to oversell that either. I mean, that 61 or 63 on this preliminary design that we have here. But again, getting back to putting parking in because we're worried we have 80 rooms, if half of these people drove, that would be far in excess of any other building that we have. It just is.
How does this, I'm just thinking about how it does affect the neighborhood, just because
I live on that block.
I live on that block.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, is it a huge?
Traffic will be one thing, but if they're not traveling as much, we have a lot of kids in the neighborhood, but I mean, that's kind of like,
But even just the dynamic of the neighborhood, I'm just thinking about
it was
that.
there previously, we had a hospital there previously, so
Generally, they're good, really good neighbors.
I would say
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah,
You
know,
they're-
thank you.
it's
They won't drive as fast as you,
Don't run
Kate.
across the street.
legitimate concerns. but
No,
yeah.
I think so.
And the other thing about these facilities too is generally speaking, within 5 mile radius is where you find the majority of your residents. So most, I'd say 80% of the people that live here are probably Prescott residents that
yeah.
are just looking to move. And that's the other nice thing about this type of housing is it frees up some of maybe that starter home stock or people who've been there for a long time. And now you can life cycle your community, I think, which is an important thing.
And I'd say there's a need in the community.
I
for
would
this,
say,
too.
I do
Yeah.
also think there's a need.
Yeah.
And it would be nice to have
And
that.
they're for purchase,
developed.
right? They're condos for purchase, right? They're-
What's that?
They're buying these.
No.
They're not buying.
No,
them.
no, this is, again, our average,
Transitional.
yeah, I mean, they
So
are
rental.
rental units
Okay.
that these people are coming in, they're people who need help. So, their life expectancy might be 3 to 5 years because they kind of are near that end and they need the help and that's why they're coming. It's like going,
Can I ask what your fees are for Ellsworth?
I can get that for you, I don't know
Yeah,
offhand,
just
but,
curious.
yeah.
What is the anticipated price point? Is this a high end?
This is
Assisted living, or-
middle America, to be honest
Okay.
with you. It would be very similar pricing to what we have in Ellsworth, Wisconsin. So, I mean, that probably doesn't tell you anything, but I can get that information on our next submission. We have done some updated, market studies and things just to make sure, and there really, to your point, there really is a need here, so.
I like the concept.
Okay.
We don't need a motion, right, Matt?
Yeah, we need a motion to approve the concept with any stipulations that you have in terms of.
Well, I'd make motion to approve the concept with the understanding of parking concerns, whether you, the grass with the grates or whatever, and then to make sure that the stormwater is controlled within reason, using city stormwater as well as on-site retention.
I'll second that.
We have a motion, a second to approve the senior housing concept plan with the conditions. Is there any discussion on the motion? Not all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Thank you very much.
Yeah, appreciate your time.
That's what I think was,
Okay, next item on the agenda is zoning map amendments. Discussion on zoning map amendments for 635-19. Matt?
Thank you, Mayor. So, now that we've officially moved and we're making the, I guess, if the approval of 635-19, those changes are approved by council, what we need to do next is move forward with the map amendments. This requires also, like the one we just did with the text amendments, a Class 2 public notice. We'll also be mailing out the notices to the affected property owners of their zoning change. And then we would propose the planning commission approve a public hearing for Tuesday, September 2nd. That is because on September 1st is Labor Day, so planning commission will be bumped one day. What we'd also like to discuss with you is consider rezoning of the following C2 parcels to R4. This is the Prescott Housing Authority. Obviously, the Housing Authority is essentially a residential development that is high-density residential. Right now, it is zoned commercial. Another reason for that is they have a 1 acre parcel that they currently actively, it's under the city's ownership, but it's under their control in terms of they have to give any approval if they want to sell it. But basically, they have come before the city and said they are interested because they do not want to develop another building like the one they have.
Where is that again?
So it's just across the street here on, I can't remember my directions, but Borner Street,
Please,
On the
or
opposite
Pine
side.
Street, sorry.
yeah.
Okay.
Pine Street.
So can you just repeat that again? I'm sorry.
So the Housing Authority, back when we established the Housing Authority back in 1978, the city owned a piece of land. I'll pull it up here quick on Google Maps. So I think it was around 1978. This building was first built in 1979, and this building was built in 1981. But they were basically given control to develop these buildings, and this 1 acre parcel here was included in that development. Essentially, what the Housing Authority has said at this point, with the amount of maintenance and other items, these buildings already are getting a point of state of disrepair, and they're trying to find out ways that they can find funds to remake repairs, grants, and things like that. So they're not interested. Eventually, there was a proposal to do another similar building next to it, but they have decided they don't want to move forward with that, so they're interested in potentially selling it. What they've told us recently is that they want to sell that for some sort of 55-plus senior living facility, because that's what they want.
So basically, no preventative maintenance was done on these buildings for how long?
What's that?
Nothing, I'm just being sarcastic.
45 years.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm just being a turd, is what I'm being.
Okay, I didn't.
Yeah, you don't need to hear that.
Sorry.
I even need to question that.
I'm just like,
Thinking
everything's
out
in
loud.
disrepair, we need to figure out what to do, it's just, never mind, I'm just,
No, they're maintaining them, just.
okay.
So basically the change would be, right now, none of the parcels, this would also include the building we're in now and the police department. If they, for some reason in the future, we were ever to vacate these parcels, if we changed it, they could be also developed into high-density residential. This then supports the actual land use and the potential future for residential development. So I'm colorblind, so I'm not the best at seeing this, but you can see the hatched parcels. So basically, we don't want to do spot zoning, so we don't want to break things up. What this would do then, if we made these changes to go to high-density residential, they would connect there and then go across the street as well. So basically what we're asking for is discussion if Plan Commission wanted to move forward with that, and then asking for your approval to set a public hearing for Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025.
So you're changing it to the sorry, one more
New
time.
zone R4.
Thank you.
You want to make it 4?
R4, yeah, high-density residential.
Maybe I missed it, but what's the reasoning for like including this ground and that ground with that ground for high density?
We're trying to connect the whole zoning parcel so that way that we don't have spot zoning, like we don't want to just develop one specific spot zone of a, because that's one thing that's just frowned upon in general in terms
You
of zoning.
drive through and it's choppy in a neighborhood and you're like,
Yeah.
what just happened? Yeah.
So in an R4 zone, this is allowed in an R4 zone, this type of
Building.
use.
As a conditional
Conditional
use.
use, so it's not like they're making it non-conforming, we
Yeah.
exist. And it would be a use because it existed when they.
Well, eventually the city's gonna give up this building.
So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's-
They're 50 years, but.
That's part of it too, is that it doesn't mean you couldn't develop it for something other than this if you wanted to. But R4 is what we're shooting for, we could use some of that, use up less land and more house and try to keep it more affordable. Which I think is-
deal is affordable.
that's our master plan says too, so.
I think it's affordable.
I'd recommend that we consider approval or of holding a public hearing for the map amendment as shown here on September 2nd.
Second,
Okay, we have a motion, a second to approve a public hearing on Tuesday, September 2nd, for zoning map amendments. Any discussion on that motion?
Just to clarify, you guys are fine then with those C2 parcels changing to R4, part of that map amendment?
Correct.
Correct.
Not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Okay, the next item on the agenda is comprehensive plan updates. Chapter 6, transportation goals, objectives, and policies. Matt?
Thank you, Mayor. So, continuing our comprehensive plan updates through our working it out through 2025, just to give you an update, we're going to go over the goals, objectives, and policies tonight for transportation, and then next month, because Cedar Corporation can't make it, we take a break, and then we'll start back up with utilities and public facilities in October.
And these are up for discussion, right? 'Cause I
These are
already
just
see a few.
discussion.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah, I was just gonna, like we've done in previous points, just go through these. Basically give the plan commission time to, if they don't like something or something needs to be changed, give you an opportunity to do that. So, right now, under our policies for Chapter 6 Transportation, we have identify points of interest within the community and link them through sidewalks and trails. I guess what I'll do is I'll just read through them, and then if you guys have something, just stop me and we can. Inventory bicycle infrastructure in the city to identify needs such as workstations, parking infrastructure, restrooms, and access to potable water to attract tourists and build a local sustainable economy.
We did that,
Develop a wayfinding signage plan to direct people to public parking areas and points of interest.
did that.
Explore forming up or participating.
That one I don't like. Number
This
4,
one?
no.
So number 4 would be explore forming or participating in a committee to determine the feasibility of a commuter bus service or light rail to the Twin Cities metro area.
Nope.
We don't know light rail.
They're cutting light rail in the cities. They're
Yeah.
gonna bring it out here.
No.
No.
So we're saying no to just the light rail or to the bus service as well?
Bus.
Bus service too.
Both.
Okay.
First of all, buses can't cross,
Well, you do.
like state lines.
It's cut.
All right. Number 5, establish metrics to benchmark and track bicycle-related tourist dollars to measure the impact of promoting bicycling and constructing bicycle infrastructure. Provide a page on the city's website related to vehicle, bicycle, and pedestrian rules, regulations, and safety. Apply for grants to offset the cost of road, multi-use trail, and sidewalk improvements. Require sidewalks and/or multi-use trails in new development that connects to existing infrastructure. Continue to support efforts to grow and enhance the Cooley River Trail System and add connectivity to the city's trail system. Continue to identify and preserve north, south, and east-west arterial transportation corridors. Identify locations for additional vehicle and motorcycle parking lots in downtown and waterfront area. Coordinate with the BNSF Railroad and with SDOT on rail issues regarding noise and safety.
I think that number 12 is a pipe dream, but
Yeah,
I think we've tried to get a hold of them a number of times and they say, sure, if you pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
I think
maintain it.
unless we want to pay for it, you know.
and maintain it.
Yeah, I forgot about that part, yeah. Like we know how to maintain a railroad crossing.
Yeah, that's not.
So we
cheap.
pay them to do it and they would charge us outrageous.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've done a lot of these, so, I mean, we're actively doing some, just number 4 can, my personal opinion, go away.
So number 12, keep.
I think you could probably, as a goal, but I don't ever see it happening.
Sure.
So is it realistic? Probably not.
Number
I mean,
4?
I think we would have gotten a hold of them by now, you know, on a joint.
The other thing I think we
You
talked
never
about,
know.
Yeah, maybe.
we talked in our last meeting, number 11, you know, identify locations for additional vehicle, motorcycle. We did talk about golf carts too, did we not?
Yes,
Yes, we did.
I don't know if you want to add golf carts to number 11.
It's coming up
Oh,
here.
that's coming up, okay. I didn't read that far down, did I?
I didn't either.
With 12, how'd we get the fence and the sidewalk?
Just
Wasn't
did
that-
it because they wouldn't answer.
Okay. Got it.
Uh-huh.
No complaints from them.
Number 13, work with WISDOT to designate and fund the best locations for pedestrian crosswalk improvement to move people safely across State Highway 29, 35, and US Highway 10. We're going to actually get into a little bit more of that here in a second. Explore funding mechanisms to support the development of a taxi service to meet the needs of residents.
I think that can maybe go away because there's so many different options now, and some are actually here. I can't remember the one that everybody uses in town.
Smart ride.
Smart Ride. You'll have Uber eventually make it here, maybe.
I don't understand why Uber doesn't, you can't get Ubers here.
I don't know the reasoning, but I think I think there's gonna be third-party opportunities for that versus the city taking that on, and we can support it if it comes, but it's already kind of here.
Do you say,
I don't think we need to explore funding mechanisms.
Yeah, we don't need to
No.
fund anything, it's happening.
We don't need to subsidize somebody.
That's what the internet's for.
So maybe just explore,
I don't think
or
you
maybe
need-
just support the development of a taxi service to meet the needs of residents, or just take it out
Just take it
completely?
I would take it out.
Take it out.
I don't know, don't you think I mean, I feel like we do have some, but you can't get an Uber to the airport, you can't, I mean, nobody wants to come here to drive.
It has nothing to do with like city stuff though, it has to do with stuff on their end, and I don't know the reason why. I think we looked at it a while back, like way back, Lyft and a few others. There's people that'll come drive and do pickups on the side that are Lyft drivers, so, but the smart one is the only one that I know that picks up like people that wanna leave their car here and go home.
no,
But I don't know if there's anything from like the city that's gonna stop them from coming and doing their like ride pickup stuff.
the only thing this might include is, you support the development of a taxi-type service. If these people could get a state grant, if we supported them in some way, just saying, hey, if you can get state funding,
I don't
we're here
think-
saying we need it. That's the only reason I'd say we put it.
I think a lot of their stuff is based on user location too, I don't know.
I think if we say not funding, but maybe support, I
Yeah,
like that. Cause I do think it's a real need, and I really think,
some seniors could really use it, and they don't know how to call these other avenues yet. But if someone comes up with something where they can get state funding, I don't think it'd be a bad idea.
Supporting.
Yep. Saying that, yes, there's a need and we support.
So just change it to support.
Okay. Number 15, to continue to maintain and update the city's capital improvement plan. 16, maintain passer data update every 2 years and utilize information of the capital improvement plan. Work with WISDOT to update the functional classification map. Update the city's bicycle and pedestrian network plan. Currently, last time we did that was, I believe, back in 2015, so we haven't updated that since. Consider a capital cost fee in the subdivision code to address future infrastructure needs related to residential growth. Consider requiring transportation impact analysis studies for larger residential subdivisions and traffic generators. And then consider updates to zoning, subdivision, and traffic codes establishing parking requirements for golf carts.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Was there any other items that you wanted to, that maybe weren't included that we should look at? Okay. So just going quickly through these state plans and just making sure there's nothing in here that you think is at odds with what we want to see in the community. WestDOT currently has Connect 2025. They're actually working on updating this right now to make it Connect 2050. So right now it has pursue sustainable long-term transportation funding, focus on partnership, increase options, connections, and mobility for people and goods, maximize transportation safety, maximize transportation system resiliency and reliability, balance transportation needs, and then balance, I think that's just a repeat on accidents. So is there any items in here that you would have issues with?
no, because it's not necessarily specific to Prescott, correct?
Yeah, it's just that we're aligning with the state's plans and basically showing that we, if they did come in here with anything that, if we applied for grants or other funding mechanisms through DOT, that we would show our comprehensive plan aligns with theirs.
Yep.
And then these two plans, Transportation Plan 2020 and Policy Plan 2020, or Pedestrian Policy Plan 2020 is part of what they're updating right now. So these might change by the time we're done with this, because their updated plan is scheduled to be released by the end of this year, so we'll see how that timing aligns. But right now it has increased the number and improved the quality of walking trips in Wisconsin, reduced the number of pedestrian crashes and fatalities, increased the availability of pedestrian planning and design guidance and other general information for state and local officials and citizens. Then for the bicycle plan, increased levels of bicycling throughout Wisconsin, doubling the number of trips made by bicycles by the year 2010, and reduce crashes involving bicyclists and motor vehicles by at least 10% by the year 2010. Any concerns or issues with those? The State Rail Plan 2050, enhance safety, security, and resiliency of the rail system, ensure system preservation, enhancement of the rail system, enhance system mobility, operations, reliability, efficiency, and connectivity of the rail system.
So it's like are they thinking of doing this on the 94 corridor, or what are they thinking? I haven't even seen this, but they're doing a rail system. Is it Madison?
Milwaukee and Madison, I think.
Oh, wow, okay. I was curious if they were outstretching all the way over to us. I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if they did that.
Bring the riffraff over here.
Yeah, no, I can stay.
Might take the riffraff to the cities.
We can connect with the Minneapolis Lake.
And then finally, their last Wisconsin Strategic Highway Safety Plan, 2023-2027.
Here.
Improve non-motorist safety, improve safety of intersections, reduce lane departure crashes, curb aggressive driving, reduce speed-related crashes. If there's nothing there, then we'll make the changes that we just went over to. One of the things, though,
So we're not adding the rail thing, though? That's just Wisconsin, what they're
Yeah.
doing?
We're just
Yeah,
aligning
okay,
thing.
okay.
it will be in our comprehensive plan, but it'll just show that we're aligning with what they're trying to
Got it.
accomplish with their plan.
Yeah.
So one of the things wanted to go over as part of, since we're on transportation, one of our goals, as we just went over, was to align with WISDOT to designate and fund the best locations for pedestrian crosswalk improvements safely across State Highway 2935 and US Highway 10. As part of that, city is currently working with WISDOT through their Transportation Alternatives Program. We received $194,106 from their TAP program to assist in developing projects that would improve non-motorized transportations across State Highway 29 and US Highway 10. Additionally, in 2026, per our capital improvement plan, we have the addition of a trail along Orrin Road from Canton Street to Dexter Street. So, right now, we've had a public meeting. We have two operational meetings. We've had multiple meetings with Wisconsin Department of Transportation. So basically, the options that are being proposed is option one, which is by far so far the preferred method of crossing pedestrians safely, would be an overpass. That would go up Canton Street, cross over. Originally, it was over here, but the Department of Transportation makes it as the midpoint, as it clears sight lines for that intersection still. Then it would come down Orrin Road. Option two, eventually, if this area to the north ever grew, would be an underpass here, because you have clear sight lines where you could go all the way down, then come back up. And then one thing that we basically need to address, and this was part of our survey, and we got multiple responses about basically this intersection, or double intersection, if you will, which is Orrin Road and US Highway 10 that intersects both with Campbell Street, right on top of each other, and where US or State Highway 29 meets there. So there are a couple of different options that we wanted to talk over with Plan Commission, see if they had a recommendation they wanted to make to council, because the idea would be that council is going to also discuss this next week and in the coming months, as well as we look for possible grants. I will say that one thing as part of this whole project, none of this stuff happens unless we move forward with a TAP grant for actual construction, just because of the scale of the magnitude of these costs. We wouldn't be able to just fund something like this ourselves as a city. We would have to have the 80% funding through the Wisconsin DOT.
Can you just zoom in on that map so I can just see where I'm? 'Cause I can't see very
I can't zoom any closer on.
Just, can you tell me what that, so that's the trailer park right there?
So these are trailer homes. This is the new storage
You
facility.
can see the ponds.
Yeah, then that's tractor,
Yep.
okay,
Yep.
got it.
So
And
the
Patax is in that corner up there.
Texas
Okay,
here.
I just,
So the
that's what I
over-
thought, but I wanted to make sure.
overpass is by the First National Bank going down over across, correct? That's an overpass?
Yeah, this would be an overpass here in the
And
midsection.
you were saying the other side over here would be,
An
by
under-
St. John's Church would be an under the road?
This here is an at-grade crossing.
Oh, it's a, yeah.
Yep, so it'd be a signalized intersection. They
Okay.
would update that.
I don't love that.
Was
Yeah.
there ever
This would be
talk of a roundabout at that intersection?
Yep.
Well,
They wouldn't have enough space.
the
And
problem is that the church is there. At
We
that
own that
would
3
be in
acres for
Butt
that
Bank.
reason, I thought.
well, I guess two things. One, it would have to close all of the Orrin Road intersection there. And the second thing is just Wisconsin's DOT's policy has generally been to stay away from roundabouts, and we've talked about them, to them.
Good.
Because we own that 3 acre chunk right next to the tax.
I thought that's why we got that.
That's what we were thought so too. The DOT wanted a roundabout, now they changed their mind.
I think a roundabout would be great because it would slow traffic down for pedestrians too.
Or you just have the lights that,
Or you got people looking for all the other traffic people, and then all of a sudden, here's a person out in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
Because I had one of those over in River Falls last winter. I stopped, but the two people behind me didn't.
So you're looking for feedback on which,
Oh, we're gonna go over the two options that we want
Okay.
feedback on
um,
in a second.
yeah.
cause you need room for an underpass, correct?
If
On
you-
each side,
If you did it up here, yes.
up where?
Up on
This is the
south side.
underpass that
Yeah,
they're.
they
What
don't wanna
about
do the
right there by the
underpass.
church?
They don't wanna do it there.
There's not.
There's not enough room to do it here.
Yeah, but we only have 3 acres. Can we get the DOT to move their highway over so that they move it north and we can start sooner on our side and go underneath, come up by the tax? That's my thought. I know the water goes through there and you might drown when you're walking under the underpass, but you know, just don't go at that time, kayak across there then. You know what I mean? Because you do have a lot of space there that we own 3 acres of that's probably just gonna sit there and do nothing. I mean, could
There's
you
a
use
dead tree
that?
on it.
Huh?
There's a dead tree on it. I don't think, I know, it's old school.
It's too bad they cut it up.
Yeah.
Or do you do the overpass there? But go ahead, that was just, I mean, we got the space there to the north of that road. And that's the big thing about overpass and underpass, you need
Yeah, but see,
certain
now
ones.
you're trying to put too much stuff together, like, if they do this, if they do this, if they, I mean, versus
And you gotta
option one,
remember,
no,
they're gonna put
two.
4-lane road in there one day.
Then they might buy that from us, but. well, it's
So, I
34.
mean, you know, you'd have to allow for that.
I know, I was just thinking we bought that to use it for crossing somehow in safety and now it's gonna sit. Cause the DOT changed their mind, which, that's fine.
I would think with time too, we'd need both
I think you
because,
need the option one and option two.
yeah, because you got residential up there that
Mhm.
can't get to mainland, and then you have the grocery store people are trying to get to, which
Yeah.
is tricky as
Be happy
heck.
with one,
Leapfrog.
especially on
Yeah.
the-
with a crossing.
Right now.
Alright, yeah, I didn't mean to stir too
Nothing.
much.
Well, like, man, I was saying here, we only got so much money, and we got, get a grant. I would think you'd have to pick one that you wanna see first, and then
I
Then
think we
option
don't, I
one
think
is
we
probably
don't
the-
want people running across the highway.
Yeah, option one,
I
would be-
want-
That right now.
option one would be residential.
Yeah,
So
well, you do see it all the time now.
yeah, number one.
the biggest issue that we're trying to address is there's two options that when we look at Orin, US Highway, Campbell,
Yeah.
29, where they all intersect. So this first option, basically what we look at is right where you come down from that overpass, you would have a signal or a rapid flashing beacon, kind of like we have. They would cross at a midpoint and a crosswalk we put here. Then you would cross in front of this bank, then go south, another one on Campbell.
Oh my
Cross
God.
down. Yes, it gets very complicated. So there's two
That's
issues with.
ugly.
First, people generally go point A, point B, so would they just simply cross here, go
Yeah.
straight if they're looking to get?
100%.
Yeah,
And then the second issue is,
Distance.
Well, there's some full of sidewalk, but a lot would, yeah.
the second issue is, when you do these mid-block intersections, it does improve pedestrian safety if there was nothing there, but it's still not as safe as when you put them either on controlled intersections like signals or stop signs, so. However, the second option then would be, we continue that trail straight across here at US Highway 10. Then as a result, to make sure that we don't, because if you do that, you put this crosswalk here, you back up traffic. If you leave this intersection on Orin Road open, basically you'd either have to stop them way back here or you'd have people piling up on this Orin.
Already
So the
have this.
proposal would be to potentially close this section of Orin, and if we wanted to get more aggressive, you can close this section of Orin here. I mean, ultimately, closing this side of Orin would accomplish the goal of what you want to do for traffic in terms of you wouldn't have to have that gap anymore.
Two things.
Why I hate that intersection.
I
I
love
hate
this
that
idea, and I
intersection
thought
too,
with the roundabout, that would solve
Businesses.
some of the complications with the roundabout. If you deleted the frontage roads so that you could do a roundabout there, that would work.
Then they'll have to
Yeah,
put
I mean,
a roundabout some-
I'll just say personally, I absolutely love roundabouts, but WISDOT has never been willing to entertain the option of putting in a roundabout here. So we're kind of,
This idea would tee us up better in the future for that conversation, because the two intersections right next to each other are tricky for any type of
yeah, it's
remodel.
always a disaster.
Just.
DOT don't like right now
just-
because they wanted it still 45 and we'd like it to go down to 25 or 30.
If you're gonna have a
So
lot
the-
of pedestrian traffic, you're gonna want it as slow as you can make it.
Well,
You saw great,
we would with DOTs, there ain't enough deaths yet before we,
so you got,
change it.
on the road that you'd bought from up from there is Stern House, and you
Yeah.
got Patax Event Center. So that means, Rob was saying is that they gotta go all the way down to the roundabout to make it all the way back.
Or
Enjoy
left
that
at-
conversation.
left
That's-
at Quick
I would,
Trip.
if I was a business, I'd be pretty upset about that.
Well, also don't, when you
Put a
close
turn lane there.
that, furniture like that, once you have to have a way for that's big enough for the fire department to be able to make it.
You could direct it on Filkins and down Henry. It's an extra block, I guess, each way. that
Well,
you
that,
have.
I mean. So
Would it
we-
be that big of a deal though?
So we
Well, to
really
me and
went,
you.
If you're a couple businesses, you would be, I know that. What if you gave them, a turn lane there between Certain House and Pataxi? They might, that,
Like down
come
the
up-
road more, put a turn lane in?
No, go up Highway 10 a little bit and then have a turn lane up closer to them.
Well, I would, that would
An
be
off-way?
helpful.
Don't we have a
Yeah,
water
but
ditch there though?
remember they only gave us a ride out of Patax. They didn't want to give that because it was too close to the intersection.
Right, but it would only be off Highway 10 to get there, then they have to go all the way up to a roundabout and come back out, but they get in there quick.
I think that's gonna be a problem.
I'd have to have bigger.
So I guess what we're
discussion.
looking for is what
Especially since that's a drainage.
recommendation, if there's one that planning commission prefers to give to council when looking at these two options,
I
or
prefer this one.
anything in between.
That option too?
Wetland.
So then would you, okay, so you'd have the,
For option one, where it goes across town.
Are we talking about
Close and-
this
That's option
concept?
4A.
This concept versus this concept.
Oh,
Yep, I like this.
4A better.
4A, yeah. I think you're gonna have a lot safer intersection with the pedestrians. And we have more and more need, now that Patax is across the highway, to be over there.
We're gonna direct all the traffic then down to the roundabout right by the high school and have them come all the way back down?
Well, that or Henry Street and Filkins.
Which-
But,
yeah.
I mean, the Henry Street and
Yeah,
Filkins are all
because
commercially zoned areas.
Quick Trip
I don't like any of them.
and the boat ice.
well, it's a bad intersection to start with. It's hard to come up with something that's gonna,
It's
Actually,
bad
It's
all
a
around.
terrible intersection.
Or we could say option 4C and we just don't do any pedestrian improvements and we just leave it, I guess, as is.
Well, obviously that's not the answer.
I
'cause-
disagree, but
I mean, that's, but I'm just saying, like, we're gonna have, businesses are gonna show up and they're gonna, so we just have to have like, how are we gonna basically deal with that? Like,
Well,
what?
just because
It's
I've,
literally adding half a block.
It is,
well,
but we're
I'm not so
redirecting
much
it back
the ones
down.
up Stern House. The ones coming up from the, childcare over here on the side for them to be able to get there and get back, or, cause you're cutting off the road right there at the end of the intersection.
Go the other, go the other way.
You go down
So
to
you-
Canton and cross,
but
where you got good visibility both ways.
I would say we can, I mean, as long as we're closing this section and you can't go through, you would have you could have leave this open. Basically, what we have to do is not create this huge gap that you have to leave, so there can't be a throughway here. So at least closing one side would have get you,
Well,
That,
I
that,
think closing the one side.
I would say the one side by St. John's Lutheran would be the,
St. Paul.
St. Paul, okay, it's on one, that won't be out in the country. But anyway, I think the one,
Option 1 and option 4A,
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
With one side closed off?
and then I think
Mhm.
you
And
talk
then-
to the businesses up that street. and see
that way they
what
can't go
concerns
across
they
there, you have to just loop out.
well, I'm gonna be honest with you, I've had conversations with one of them, and when we had the zoning change and we tried to remove storage and
Remember that.
used automobile sales, it was, well, this will close my business, so we can't do it. So I don't know how effective my conversation would be
Well,
with
I
the
could
trust.
too, I suppose, but maybe the mayor should. They pay the big bucks.
are these basically our only options?
We're open to, I guess, listening to other options, but I don't know what other options you would.
I don't know, I'm just asking.
There's not really a great clear path either way.
Unless you go up over the top.
So where the sidewalk's going out, isn't that ditch right now at the moment or no?
Some of this would be, yes.
So are we gonna have to redirect water?
Um,
That or you could build a
Yeah, I mean, we haven't gotten to that point in terms of what,
I'm just curious, like, if we're gonna have to do water, cause
well,
then,
yeah, well, if any place will fill in ditches, we'll have to figure out spots
and
to.
there's only sections of it. The whole thing.
It isn't very far before you get wide enough and you have a built-in
I
spot
think you
for
keep it as close to Warren Road as you can, just stay out of the ditch.
So is this gonna be an overpass or an underpass, just so I'm clear?
Sidewalk.
Just a sidewalk?
This is
sidewalk
just a
going
signalized, so this whole area would be a signalized controlled intersection, kinda like you would go up, push the button. It'd have a,
through. And that way they would give you
crosswalk.
X amount of time to get the crosswalk. What are you thinking, Katie?
I don't love
You can
it.
see the smoke.
Well, I seen something going on there.
I just don't love it. I just,
I think now you can put this in, we'll probably get a little objection, but I think we gotta go
Well, we
somewhere.
need to start moving forward with
Yep.
something.
Yeah,
So keep the
Option one,
west
4A.
side open and then close off the east side?
yeah, just enough to make the loop to go towards
Is that fine?
Quick Trip.
we could start there and see what,
Yeah,
Try to keep that traffic moving somewhat.
Cause that intersection does suck. I mean, there's usually people backed up everywhere.
well, if they don't,
Mhm.
if they don't pull up to the light, you
Doesn't,
sit there forever, you gotta get up and tell them, hey, you gotta move forward.
I mean, like Cherry.
The
And then there's other people who block the whole mess.
Well, or
You're
like,
down by
if
Circle
you're
K,
trolling
that's
a
terrible
trailer,
down there.
you
I
can't
don't know
pull
how
up to the
many times I get
light,
out
so
of
like,
the
if
car
I
and
could like
people
give
move
gas in my
forward.
boat in the morning, it's like, I have to go down to Canton and then bolt across. Cause I can't, if I pull up, I'm blocking.
Yeah. I think it's a good idea.
So what do
Do you need a
I agree.
recommendation?
Or-
we'll just bring this, it can just be verbal, the discussion tonight and
Okay.
have the discussion with council.
They're pretty persuasive. Maybe we have to just put a few signs there saying, you know, taxi events turn house, arrow pointing and then.
Yeah.
Do you have that as waypoint, like directional signs? We can add more signs.
You know, just to get them, just so they used to take, nope, certain house, go straight ahead, and then we could have more taxi events underneath.
You say more directional signs rather than,
Yeah, like how we have way signs, basically.
Most of Center House traffic is gonna go
Not
to
for
Quick
Center
Trip
House.
and turn left and come into their parking lot. I mean, it's not that big of a detour.
No, that's what I'm saying, it's like a block.
Yeah.
Henry Street there.
Sign-
Most of their traffic.
Signage
so time
just
out.
help.
Can we just go back to this, cause this is really bugging me. So if we do the other option, which is the overpass, then you have to have all that
so we're,
stuff?
so basically what we're saying is, right now, we're looking at option one as the option we would move forward with no matter what. But basically what we're doing is, if this is an overpass, we're directing all these people to this intersection.
So no matter what, you'll deal with it.
So
Okay.
then the question is, which option, as we're directing people, would you prefer to go with?
Okay.
And knowing that they're gonna just walk that way anyways, you might as
Yeah,
well just deal with
they're
it.
going to Patax, Quick Trip, the post office, you know, I don't know, made that up.
Quick Trip, they're going
Quick Trip,
Quick
yeah,
Trip.
for sure.
So out of
But-
all the options that you listed on that previous map, are we doing option one, option four is future? Then, cause I just wanted to make sure. they're all
Well,
listed-
option four might be much more quick than these other options, because if we're redoing Horn Road,
I see.
And
So,
option four really isn't that complicated, you put up
so
some.
instead of doing the
We're talking about
overpass,
4A
we could
too,
get the
right?
crosswalk
Yeah,
right
4A.
away.
but potentially.
Probably, less expensive.
But the signalized intersection isn't gonna change until they come in to do the project in 2029 or 20,
Did
whatever
they
year.
push that out again, or are they still on?
That's the last update we got was 2020.
2029.
Yeah.
Talk to your politicians.
We'll have it the same thing that when we do 35 then,
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck.
in 29.
Don't hold your breath.
I don't need anything with them.
What are you talking about? They're so friendly and easy to work with. Yeah.
That's why it took forever to get a deal. The whole governor got a deal.
So basically recommend option four with the cutting,
4A.
basically closing it up, 4A?
4A.
Okay.
Sorry.
We don't have to recommend anything though, right?
Yeah, we are, aren't we? Recommending, just discussion?
Just discussion.
Just getting the ball rolling.
Get them all on.
2029.
Okay.
Talk about them now.
Okay,
Like 4 years.
we good?
Is that it?
All right, next on the agenda is other business. Next meeting is Tuesday, September 2nd, due to Labor Day. Any other business?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're done. Thank you very much. Good discussion, everyone.